everybody. I'm Victor Brooks, and welcome back to the Indie Fam series right here at Broadsides, downtown Wake Forest, North Carolina, on White Street. You know how we do it, y'all. It's where we get together as the artist family or family of artists, and we talk artistry. We support each other. We're here for each other. We remind each other what it is that we're about as artists, specifically, but not disrespecting others, but specifically the independent artist. And today is a very, very special episode for me as your host of this Indie Fam series. Why? Because I'm joined today with a gentleman who, back in the middle of COVID, he was the main inspiration for bringing this dinosaur, Victor Brooks, out to the social media platform, allowing me to understand or helping me to understand the importance of catching up with what's happening right now to reach the masses. And ever since then, the Positivity Posse was born. The Positivity Posse, and those of you who still send emails about the Positivity Posse and what it's about and what it means to you internationally, thank you so much. Well, today, I'm so proud to welcome my nephew, Brian McKnight Jr., to the Indie Fam series at Broadsides. Once again, right downtown Wake Forest, North Carolina. BJ, thank you for coming today, man.
Thank you, Mark, man.
Thank you,
amazing,
brother. Man, I hope you don't mind, the way that, and when I bring out that whole thing of how the Positivity Posse started, what it meant to me as an artist, which my entire career has been independent artist.
Yeah.
Even though I've worked with many over the years, was mentored by many over the years, something about that independent artistry always seemed to be what it is that called for me, man. Mm-hmm. And to have you here today to talk about your journey is what it means to the world, to the Positivity Posse. And thank you again, man. What does independent artistry mean to you, nephew?
Man, first of all, thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad to see how far this has come.
Yes.
Man, I mean, this is amazing. And we're home.
That's right.
I'm filled with a lot of joy sitting here right now.
Yeah.
Now that we're getting into it.
Mm-hmm.
But being an independent artist, man, for me has taken on such a new, profound meaning, even since COVID. Mm-hmm. It's wild to think that I inspired you to get into this. And in return now, you're inspiring me.
Wow.
You have taken to this so well, man. And the people that have gravitated to you as just like I knew they would, but I think it's even blown my mind to see just how tenacious you've been and consistent, man.
Appreciate you,
which
man.
Is, I think, one of the main factors. And I think what being an independent artist is truly about, which is consistency. Which is what I've learned, man. I've had probably the most transformative year, 2 years of my adult life, where I have not been consistent.
Okay.
It's probably the first time in my life where I'm not consistently making music. I'm not consistently doing shows. I'm not consistently being where I haven't been consistently being an artist. And it's been an interesting time for me, man, because as you know, since I've been a wee lad, there's never been a time where I wasn't in the studio or just doing something that I felt was progressing me further in my career.
Right.
And it's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot about patience, perseverance, and what it means to have a community as well that is behind you. With everything that's gone on, especially in the last few weeks, man, what has made me cry multiple times is the amount of support from I don't call them fans like my mom, but my family, my community of people as an independent artist that rally for me, man, that fill up my soul when I need it. That get behind me, that are constantly motivating me and pushing me to get back to it, that basically saying, we're here when you're ready. And I think that is one of the major components, man, of being not just an artist, but an independent artist, entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You know, just having that knowledge and knowing in the back of your mind that I can always start again.
There you go.
I'm not bound by anyone.
Yes.
I don't have a big machine or big business behind me telling me what I can and what I cannot do. If I want to take a break, I can take a break.
Yeah.
You know? And now feeling like I'm finally on the other side of everything that I've been dealing with, grieving still, which will never end, obviously, but to have a weight, I feel like a weight has finally been lifted in a way. I'm happy that it's the end of the year, right before the holidays, so it's okay to be taking a break.
There you go.
You know, the industry is closed. And I'm more motivated and finally have my spark and fire back to where top of the year, it's people better be ready, man.
Right on, man. Because I've heard you kind of dropped it here and there on the family of things you're working on, what you're doing, what you're putting together. And you took me back down memory lane. Can all flashback for a minute? Okay. I remember when you brought up how your artistry, you began to feel your artistry at such a young age. We all saw that as a family, man. And I can remember, BJ, you sitting there in your pop's arm and he's creating his beautiful creations, you know, and you're sitting there soaking it. And your whole, I remember me and Chris, and mainly me and Chris, we would sit there. Julie was more like, you know, with the whole thing of the mommy vibe and the looking on. But we noticed your attentiveness and that something seemed to be calling you.
Oh, yeah.
Right then and there. And then it carried on for the rest of your life, man.
Oh, yeah.
You learned to develop your production skills at such a young age. You learned to develop your songwriting skills at such a young age. Some, as well, even outside of your family, have used the word prodigy, you know? At that, when you look back over your artist development years, not the industry artist development, but your creative artist development, what is it that you think, when did it hit you that you said, you know what, I'm getting this artistry thing down. I'm an artist. When did it start hitting you?
You know, it's interesting, man, because as far back as I can remember, I've been pulled to just creating.
Yeah.
Instruments, you know, the piano especially. It's just always been like, I got to figure this thing out.
There you go.
And songs, man, as a songwriter, because that's where it all starts for me. It's like I've been writing songs since I can remember. I was getting in trouble in first grade for not paying attention and writing songs and singing in class and stuff like that. But I attribute it a lot, of course, watching my dad, him having his own setups and wherever we were and all that, of course. But man, I have many more memories of being in the studio with y'all.
Yeah.
Uncle Wayne.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Back when he had the studio in the back house.
That's right.
Me and Vic and Nico and Benji and our cousins would be running around. But you know, I'd be right in there.
Right in there, man.
Underneath y'all. You know, I think I miss those times so much too, man. It felt like whenever we all got together, a song was written.
There you go.
Whether we were just chilling at the crib, whether we were just out somewhere, it always seemed like somehow it became a song.
Come on, man.
Or some kind of artistic creation came from just our togetherness as a family. And, you know, our extended family, man.
Come on,
the people that we could reach out and touch, especially growing up, the people I saw you working with and your Uncle Zay, you know what I mean? That it's just, I was never in short supply of inspiration.
Exactly.
I think that really aided in my natural curiosity of just wanting to do it anyway. But my particular cast of people that I could look up to and not only aspire to be like, but I could ask questions. You know, Uncle Wayne would sit me down and teach me how to play certain things.
We're talking about Wayne Vaughn.
Wayne Vaughn, man. Shout out.
Yeah. That's
there was never a time where I lacked inspiration.
Come
and
on.
I mean like young.
That's right.
So by the time I was 9 and 11 and had my own studios, it was a no-brainer.
Gotcha.
And my love for technology in itself, I think, was also a huge proponent in the fact that I learned very quickly how to do most of it myself.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I was 11, man, and it was like, you know, I was cranking out.
You're cranking it out.
And it was all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, almost to a fault. You know, that's why I didn't care about school. That's why, you know, it would be tough to concentrate and be studious because, man, I would be bombarded by, you know, ideas. It was deafening. It still is a lot of the time.
Right.
But I do attribute it a lot to our family, you know, our family history.
Come on.
I mean, you know, it's in me, man. A lot of people say it's in their DNA, but I truly believe that this songwriting, producing, and just it's in us. It's in our. I believe it's what our tribe was here to do, not just entertain.
Yes.
So we are great entertainers, but I do think, man, the power of song, hymns, the power of our voices, I think, is what. You know, it still gives me chills, man. And I thank God that I still have these songs coming through.
Come on, bro.
Even in moments like this last couple of years where I'm not actively bringing these songs to life, man. But I've got maybe, no exaggeration, 40 songs in my head right now that I now cannot wait to bring to life with the amount of life that I've lived in this just short period of time, this last few years, that I know will just, I mean, I look so forward to hearing whatever it is. You know?
It is. You look so forward to hearing whatever it is means that you also learned at a young age to keep that gate open.
100%.
That creative gate of how important is it? And I ask all of the independent artists that come here and take their time to speak with me on their journey. But how important is it to you and to other artists to keep that gate open of creativity? And I ask you this because I remember, as you just mentioned, you grew up with an eclectic musical shower that you were born into. They were, like you said, hymns, jazz, classical, funk, R&B, everything. You just consumed it. You and Nico just consumed that. Right? So with keeping that gate open, brother, how important is that for the journey of the artist?
Man, I truly believe that opening the door and allowing God to come in, as I believe Quincy said, is what it's all about.
Right.
You know, I have never been in my own way when it comes to making music, which is why I believe I've never had, quote unquote, what people would call writer's block.
Okay.
You know, I learned very early that I am a vessel.
Okay.
You know, and in a multitude of ways, man. Growing up with y'all, you and Uncle Chris and my mom, we heard everything. You know, I heard everything from a very, very young age. My earliest memories, man, most of them are riding around, listening to music. Bobby Caldwell, Michael McDonald, Michael Cimbello, you know, my architects for who I am now, you know, just extend into everything that I do. And I know they're with me. It's interesting, man. I'm a very spiritual person as well. I had a reading done.
Okay.
Back when I was maybe 25, or actually it was right after Prince died, R.I.P. Prince. And Tahita, the lady that runs where I would go get my readings done and my meditations, picked me out of a hat randomly one day and sat me down and gave me a reading. And what she told me was, and mind you, she doesn't know I make music. She really doesn't know who I am. She just knows me as someone that comes to the Imagine Center to find healing. And the reading she gave me that day was, all of the greats are with you. And they're telling you to keep going, keep making music. She was like, you never have to worry about having a lack of inspiration because your angels are your guides and they're exactly who you think they are. Prince, MJ. She named Prince specifically. She said, Prince is here with you right now.
Wow.
You know, and again, mind you, she didn't know I make music. She had no idea about the connection that I've always felt I've had to Prince either. And that was one of those pivotal moments in my young adult stage of transformation too. That kind of was just validation for me to be like, I'm never second guessing anything that comes in. I never really have before that either. But from that point on, it was like, I 100% believe that.
Got you, brother.
So I never take advantage of the fact that, how can I word this? I feel like I am obligated almost to allow myself to be open so that they can continue to give us those gems that could through me. And that's not an ego thing. That's not but I feel it. There are times where I'll have an idea coming and I'll be like, I know exactly where that came from. So I think it's not, if not the number one way to just continue through whatever you're dealing with, allow yourself to be open. And I think that's just a life lesson in itself too, man. The more that you can allow yourself to receive, be open to receive. Even if you don't agree with it, even if you don't necessarily feel it. There are a lot of times, a lot of sessions I'll be in where I'll have ideas come in and, and you sift through them, but allowing yourself to be just that vessel to funnel whatever it is that you feel like is necessary to put out there. That's what we're here. That's our job. The rest of this is cherry on top. Our job, I believe, is to just be antennas. Like Lenny Kravitz says. I think I tapped into that very, very early.
You did. And that was my lead in there, because you mentioned also through your journey, through the ups and downs, through life. We all are living this life, but our lives. You dig? And your transparency, your authentic artistness, okay? Especially in the past year and a half, 2 years, up to just 3 days ago, your transparency of what that is or what that means when you mentioned just now, going through things, keeping your focus about and having the artistry be your anchor of pulling you through, never stopping that. I remember, I'm going all the way back from the 360 days to the Broken Robots to now. And everything in between that was there for your ingredients of that artistic life journey for you. When you hear that worded, or however that is that you just mentioned, and I gave my little take on it as well, what do you feel that whole journey and sticking to the artistry means and has meant to you through those? Because Broken Robots, man, was rock and roll. In a lot of ways. You went back, talking to mentors, you went back to Uncle Richard, Little Richard, and pulled some things and moved through. Pulling those ingredients, pulling those out of your bag of foundational existence of who you are. Give me your take on that, man.
I think about it a lot.
Okay.
If it wasn't for me, Vic, Nico, and Benji.
That's right.
If it wasn't for them accepting me, forcing them to record, to them allowing me to produce them, that's where I learned how to vocal produce.
Wow.
I learned how to produce with my brother and my cousins, man.
Gotcha, man.
360, that was our group back in the day. We still got 100 songs that are coming, I guarantee you that. But it was through that time, man, that I honed all of the skills now that I get paid for. If I don't have those years, I don't know how to do what even my mom and I just did the other night in Philly, where I can walk into a session, blank canvas, and deliver immediately.
There you go.
And that's my favorite challenge. Oh, you don't got a hook? Bet. Give me 2 minutes.
That's right.
And it's like, if I don't feel it, I don't feel it. But those times where, like the other night, we walked in, I kid you not, man, me and mom were out of there in an hour. And it's not the doing of it that fills me up, but it's seeing an artist hear their dreams come to life is what it's all about for me as a producer, as a song crafter.
Yeah.
There's no better feeling, man, than pulling something out of an artist that they didn't even believe maybe that they could do, or that they didn't think they would hear themselves doing, or taking their idea and expanding it for them in a way to where then they have become broadened as an artist. And I attribute all of that to those first couple of years we lived in North Carolina, where I had my studio in my room, and it was literally the four of us in there cranking those songs out. And then we got to perform those songs together. Did. All of that, I believe, it is all artist development. By the time Nico and I get to when we decide we want to do Broken Robots, I can only also attribute that to the amount of work that Nico put up as a guitar player.
Yes.
Every single guitar part you hear on our Broken Robot songs is Nico.
Yeah.
And the flip side about that is I never produced him.
Wow.
I never told him what guitar parts to play. I never had to, of course you reproduce, but Nico was the only other person that I could trust.
Yeah.
I could leave the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And having someone like that as a partner also allowed me to expand. I knew I could throw anything at him. I knew I could write anything. I knew his capabilities and I knew where he could take it. And that sharpening iron thing that Nico and I had, even through touring with my dad all those years and all that, led to us being able to also go into a studio together and just blow it up.
Yes.
Do anything we wanted to do, whether we were Broken Robots or whether we were rapping together or just me behind the drums and Nico playing guitar. There was just so much synergy there that I also believe, you build up a level of confidence in those moments. And I attribute all of that, man, to our early years. All of that. And I appreciate y'all so much. You and my mom and Auntie Cheryl for giving us the freedom that young. We're talking 11, 10, 7, and 6 and beyond, man. We were treated with the young adult respect enough to be up late working on music, to just to be able to be free. I think that's the thing. It's about freedom, man. At the end of the day, it all comes down to being freedom. Even when we were talking about opening the door, it's freedom.
It's freedom.
I think a lot of young artists that I meet and a lot of even older artists that I meet still are they're so restricted in what they think they are capable of. And when you come work with me, immediately the first thing I'm going to tell you is, oh no, we're going to get rid of that.
There you go.
You step into the studio with me. My goal is for you to hear what you've never heard from yourself. That was a lot of why I was, why I'm I love collaborating.
There you go.
I love working with people. I've never been I don't want to do a session. I'm the king of getting in where I fit in. I don't always have to take over a session either. I don't always have to be the guy working, but I know myself. I know what I bring to the table. Whenever I feel a session getting a little stagnant, I'm usually the one to...
Let's pump it up.
So I'm so thankful, man, for all of those young, early memories of learning how to produce, learning how to work with artists. There were times Vic would be like, man, I'm not doing this. And I'd have to be like, all right, when you're ready.
Yeah.
So it taught me patience as a producer, even finding out the right way to talk, finding out the right way to, finesse and allow people to feel comfortable to be the artist that they want to be.
There you go, man.
I learned a lot of that.
Man, you know what, Nev? I love that you're just moving with this thing, because what I'm feeling, man, is number one, so much flashbacking, pride for my nephew and nephews and family thing, everything you're mentioning. And I can remember when you mentioned Nico, man, I remember him getting his first guitar, that little put the battery in and it glows up and all that for the first guitar in Wilson. And ever since then, it was like he was holding an axe from that age. And then one day, he pulls out an acoustic, and it's like,
Yeah.
Where did this come from?
It was,
it's like, it was like, how did he learn that progression?
Mm-hmm.
What did he do going from bossa nova to funk and this, and you're still in what grade,
Man.
So when you mention that foundation, what it did for you, what it did for Nico, what it did for you all collectively, man, I think is so important.
Yeah.
For number one, the realization of, like we all like to say, where you come from, what was put in your whole basket of artisticness, right?
Yeah.
And then us as the family, over the years, we've seen you pull from that basket of artisticness. When you became you and still becoming you, when I say you, I mean the artist that you are.
Yeah.
And the transformation and the welcoming and the ballooning and the whole thing. And let me say something here too. And I'm talking to my positivity posse, my indie fam. The support of each other is priceless. If you have an artist blood relative that give it up to him. If you have a friend that's not your blood, but you want to support the artistry and the mission, give it up to him. If you happen to walk into somewhere because it's a no o'clock in the morning night and you hear another artist doing their thing and it speaks to you, give it up to him. Why? Because we all we got, especially now. Especially in this industry, and a dinosaur like myself that's seen this monster of an industry change. It's been beautiful for so many, for so long, but it's also had its other side that if you don't know what you need to know, it'll have you second guessing you and your artistry. Don't let it happen. Why am I so passionate about the independent artist journey? Is because we can talk like this. We understand the ups and the downs of each other. We understand what it means. When nephew, you talk about the writer's block, and it was so beautiful. You said, I don't even know what that means, because you're pulling from whatever that block is, of whether it was negative, whether it was pain. But you know what? I'm going to create from this too.
Have to.
You feel me? So I just give the respect to my nephew. And even if an artist, and those artists who you sent emails in, where you remember we've met at obscure venues where I may be nursing my Cabernet Sauvignon, and you have put you got your artistry up, and that's the first time we met, but you spoke to me. This is what we're talking about. How important, nephew. And I thank you for letting me get that passion moment there that you pulled out of this thing. What is it when the support? I'm gonna go back to that. Your rendition of the support of artist to artist. Why is that necessary to you?
Man, the support. I mean, it's life. It's life-saving. Yeah. It can be life-saving, man. And just speaking for myself personally, through all of this, man, there's been some very, very dark moments for me. Beyond just giving up music, beyond just not wanting to be an artist anymore, not wanting to, it's like, man, and through the times where it was like, man, I don't even want to be here anymore. Yeah. It was astounding to me how often when those thoughts would pop up, I would get something would happen to go viral, or something would happen to pop up, or the right person at the right time would text me or reach out to me and say something along the lines of, you got it. Just keep going. You got it. That's right. Just keep going. We love you. We love your music. Just keep going. You know what I mean? And even those of you that have reached out to me like that, whether it's been in Instagram, whatever, I thank you, because you really don't know. And people can say, oh, you saved my life. But you saved my life. Come on. A lot of you. Come on. Really did. So it means everything, man. A lot of people ain't made it. A lot of people haven't made it. Come on, brother. that have struggled with this monster, like my uncle said, because it's a grueling business. Mm-hmm. It is a very, very taxing and strenuous thing, man, to do this and to take this journey as an artist and to put yourself out there, because that's what it is.
Come on.
That's why I also feel like the level of transparency one's come with is also such a huge thing, because when you have nothing to hide, no one can take that away from you.
Come on, brother.
So
that's right.
It means a lot to me, man. I mean, you see it.
Yes, brother.
It means the world to us artists to know that it could be one person. Well, some of us only need one person to give us that level of encouragement that keeps us from going off the deep end, man.
Come on, brother.
And it means the world to me. It meant the world to Nico.
Yes.
I know it means the world to my mom, to my uncles, to all of us, man. And all of you artists out there, don't be scared to be vulnerable.
Come on.
Never, you will be at your best the more vulnerable you are. And you'll be surprised how much you receive from allowing yourself to be that magnet for love.
That's right.
For positivity and togetherness, man. That's why support. Just like sports, we are a team in this. We can all get to the finish line together. If we lock arms,
come on,
and let's carry each other to the finish line. Or not even to the finish line. Let's just carry each other until the wheels fall off.
Come on.
And then lead by example so that those behind us are locking arms too. And imagine a legion of us, independent artists out here working together, thriving together, putting into a pot together. You know what I mean? There will be no more starving artists. And that's always been my goal. No more starving artists. And whatever I can do to aid and bring that into fruition, that is my mission from here on out. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than us, man. This is a global movement, I think, that we are a part of now. What you see what's happening, like Ung said, the industry is changing, and it's going to constantly evolve with the things that are going on. Don't be scared of AI. Don't be scared of these advancements in technologies. Learn how to use these things as tools or not. You know what I mean? But as long as you know that you're doing all that you can to put yourself out there and also support your fellow artists, man, we can go nowhere but up.
Nowhere but up. And let me, come on, co-sign and a half. And I see Uncle Rick Swine over there co-signing as well, because we believe in, as we used to say back in the day, guerrilla style.
100%.
Whatever we got, you connect with that like-minded guerrilla style partner and make that dream come true to whatever, like you said, by any means necessary, on a positivity posse way. I've heard you mention also, nephew, that if you knew now, because you are continuing to throw game and knowledge of what's happening now. What is this technological thing, this social media thing? You mentioned AI just now. All of the things that are happening now. I've heard you mention that if you would have known back in the day, specifically with Broken Robots, one of, I believe, your most incredible creations.
Thank you, man.
To this day, chord structure-wise, melody-wise, lyric-wise, it's sung. I can't even remember how many views, and I'd love for you to talk about that. But what you know now, as an independent artist, and how to utilize what we have access to now. If you knew it then, what would have been different? Why do you say that?
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Back when Marry Your Daughter, my biggest song, thank God, shout out to the Philippines and all my peeps over there in Asia, man. Y'all have single-handedly have continued to save my life as well.
Wow.
But when Marry Your Daughter came out, it all happened so fast that we really didn't have a chance to catch it. And in terms of monetization.
How old were you? I'm sorry.
So I was 22.
Wow.
So this is back in 2012. We were still touring. We were still, Broken Robots was in its infancy. We were creating that as well. And it was early. This is before streaming even. This is before, you could just upload your own songs. I'm grandfathered into InGrooves. Shout out to InGrooves for being that first platform that did allow us to see what the potential was of being able to put out your own music, upload it to the distributions and do all of that. But I wish if you figure now, I'm a full service label myself. I distribute myself. I'm a full publisher. I have tracking all my royalties, both domestically and internationally. And I just look at how many views. I mean, Married Daughter, we've done almost 1 billion.
Say that again.
Almost 1 billion at least. We got to be sitting at close to 500 and 600 million. And that's including streams and YouTube, everything accumulating in the last 10 or 12 years. You know, Spotify alone, we've done 200 million. Had I known then to monetize it and have certain things set up to make sure that was funneled back on, just like we didn't catch it until maybe 3 or 4 years in, after it already had gathered a bulk of it. You know, had started from zero, you know, just in terms of not struggling, you know, I think is my thing, because that revenue, which now, you know, luckily I caught it in time that it's been able to help a lot. But man, had I would have had certain things structured at that time, even within the Broken Robots album, which is another story in itself of how that came about when it comes to not having the right management, not having the right people around us at that time to make sure that we were getting it mixed and mastered right, and making sure that the right mixes even then made it onto the platforms. The album that's out now, half of it aren't even the right mixes.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it was always a plan of Nico and I's to go back in, get it remastered, blown up, and give it the just due that it needs, because we were just young, you know, and it was all happening so fast, and we were just so excited about having the opportunity. The business side of it suffered at the beginning. The technology was there for the time, and I was savvy in that alone. But with what I know now, that will never happen again. And you will get that remastered Broken Robots album in honor of Johnny Boy.
Right on.
And now I believe it'll get its due. Even Marry Your Daughter in itself. In COVID, when we dropped Marry Your Daughter 2020 with me and my boy Move, shout out to Targier Records and all that. I appreciate that so much. Showed me again, okay, this time we're gonna do it right, and it was huge. You know, the remix version of Marry Your Daughter hasn't caught my original yet, but they're right there. You know, in terms of streams and in terms of outreach, and it's been an incredible learning tool to see what the right placements can do, what the right marketing can do, and just having my business set up to where now I know I'm getting that check.
There you go.
You know, I feel like one of the biggest things that I love to teach my little mentorees now is like, let's get your business right first.
There
I remember when you helped me back in the day get my publishing right. You know, mail yourself, put your address on it. All those little things now, man, have trickled into this new model of plug and play. And if you have the opportunity to get your music up there and something catches fire, if you've got your business right, it's life changing.
There you go.
Moving forward now, when I decide to start releasing music again, I'm thankful for all those trials. I don't look back. I mean, obviously, there's some days I wake up and I'm like, man, I wish.
I got you.
But now, and where I think we're going, and the opportunities now as an independent artist, because we were still competing with the big machine back then. You know, when Broken Robots came out, we were still trying to get deals. We were still trying to, you know, A&Rs and all that, telling us that they didn't know how to market two black kids doing rock, which is wild. You know what I mean? We had to deal with all of that too, which is what then forced us to be like, well, let's just put it out ourselves.
Right.
And I'm thankful for those trials and tribulations to where now I'm like, every single duck will be in a row to where when we catch that fire again, we will never have to worry, you know, and I would love to use our story as an example for everyone, not just young artists, you know, but I've got so many of these OG artists now that are leaving their labels that may still not know how to get into this new model because they never had to do it.
There you go.
They always had, you know, the machine behind them. So you've got a lot of these legacy artists now that are looking to become independent that I do think could benefit from
most definitely
an artist like me that's like, not only can I write and produce and give you some hits, but I will ensure that your business is right, and I'm not taking your publishing. I don't need, the new wave has such a potential, especially again for us independent artists, to take us out of the starving artist category. And it really is just about being efficient, consistent, and just having a little bit of business savvy and knowing that your I's are dotted and your T's are checked. All of that will just save you a lot of heartache, because God forbid you get something goes viral on TikTok now, or you get something that goes crazy on YouTube, and you're now trying to shuffle to try to monetize it and do all that. It's so easy now to have these things set up to where you never have to worry. You do it once and you're good.
There you go.
So I look back now and I'm like, yeah, it would have been great, but I wouldn't know what I know now as extensively had I not gone through.
It wasn't wasted.
It wasn't wasted.
It wasn't wasted. And what you're bringing up now, man, about what's happening. Man, I remember... I'm looking back right now, but no, I'm just saying what's happening right now. My Spotify check is for junk. Okay? And I'm not the only one.
Right.
It's so many artists, independent, established names, the whole 9 yards, that I even had to understand that, hold up, man. All the work and artists, you know what I'm talking about. Them, like Wayne says, them no o'clock in the morning sessions when you can't get it out of your head and you go to your piano and then it all becomes later a song. You gave from your heart, Our whole experience, we recorded, hey, there's a format or formats that we can put on here and download, and the world can hear our music. But on the flip side, many of us, if not all of us, are still artists that need to eat, still need to pay these bills, still need to make a living out of our artistry, because as we said before, it's not easy to shake the artisticness that comes through our mind, body, and soul on a 24-hour basis.
100%.
What do you say to, and once again, off of that too, I always tell artists, I don't care in this day of social media how many followers you have. I don't care. If you have 1 follower or 1 million followers, I want to see what speaks to me.
Yeah.
I do not want, and I will always hold that marquee up, artist. The numbers of your followers does not equate to the validation of your artistry. You are a valid artist, whether you have 1 follower or 1 million. Let's establish that first. In my opinion, like Chris says, your Uncle Chris, my humble opinion, you as an artist will never be able to change your artistry and your hunger to create. But as Nephew just pointed out, what you just pointed out, which I believe is the priceless cherry on the cake, find out how you can get paid for that. Understand the avenues that I'm still learning from my nephew of how to make that happen. The correlation, the connection. Is that what you're giving us right now?
100%, man. 100%. And I know it's tough for some people. You see, I'm 100%er. I'm what you call 100%er. Most of what you hear from me, I have done it all. I've written it, I've produced it, I performed it, I mixed it, and I master it. So a lot of the time, you know, in the age where people say, no one's getting any royalties, none of that. Well, it's because most people are having to split these royalties with 15, 20 people.
Gotcha.
You know, so I do point that out as well. But there are so many avenues now with sync and licensing and brand deals and things like that that social media has opened up to where you can be getting checks from everywhere if you have these things set up and if you're willing to, you know, give a little bit away for free. I think the more that you can give away, the more that you give away, the more inclined people will be to invest or pay for when they feel like this is something I truly I need.
Gotcha.
You know, you'll stream a movie on Netflix, but then you'll buy the movie you love on iTunes. You know, so I do think there's a level of having to be willing to accept, yeah, you're going to work, you might work 2 months on this one song and put it out and it goes crazy and you might not see whatever monetary value you thought you should get from it. But know that there are other means, man. Get that thing up on, you know, just I think sync. I tell
Break
everyone.
that down. Sync what? What do you mean?
Sync licensing, man. With all of the streamers, all of the product that's out right now, the one thing they always need is what? Songs.
Okay.
Whether you're an instrumentalist or an artist, you know, it's just like the more you shoot your shot, the more opportunities you'll have to get paid. That's what's been my bread and butter for like the last 3 or 4 years now. You know, I placed 20, 30, 40 songs in the last 2 years and on major networks or just local commercials or, you know, you never know who needs music. And a lot of the time, a lot of these song picker people don't even know what they want.
Exactly.
You know,
Right,
so I'm like, the
right.
more that you can put yourself in front of these people, in front of these, I can't think of what they call them right now, but the people that pick the music for movies and for TV and film, commercials, and now you've got TikTok people that will pay you to put your song in there. It's just,
right. That's right.
making sure that your songs are on TikTok, making sure that your songs are readily available for people to tag in your posts and stuff like that. And I know a lot of this, you know, a lot of you should know by now, but if you don't know, there are many more avenues than just putting it out and hoping that you get royalties from streams or for song sales. And I would say, look into Sync, man. Sync is where it's at. Sync saved my life. You know, it didn't change my life yet. But God, man, you never know. You look up, you get a check, couple G's. Yeah. You know, that's rich.
Yeah, that is. That's
you know, there were so many times where I didn't have nothing coming in, and then you check the mail, and it's like, boom, there's a couple G's.
There you go.
So it's all about, you know, not being scared to put your hands in a couple pots. Don't overextend yourself.
Yeah.
You know, but challenge yourself to be like, how many different ways can I make this lucrative enough for me for it to be worth it?
There you go, man.
You know,
priceless, and masterclass of what it is that you've learned through trial and error, through tears and smiles, and your openness to pass that on to others. You know, is once again, I know where you come from as well. You're about, it's in your blood to, hey, let's all eat.
Let's all eat.
Artists, let's all eat
together.
We ain't going nowhere. There's more of us than it is of them. You pick who you want them to be. But what I'm saying is, it's more of us.
100%.
Independent artists who do this every single day in every language, every culture, every belief, every color. It's us. Whenever there was a movie whenever there was something big in history, a war or a statement to be made, there was a movie that was made. There was a song that was written. You dig? That's who we are, y'all. That's who we are, and that's what we do. I gotta let you know too, and please, I am so proud of the conversation that you and your mom just did with Brother Mark Lamont, who I've had so much respect for over his career. But when I saw my nephew and my baby sister and the transparency and the artistry that you just mentioned, where you can't get away from, it's who you are, I also felt there was some type of a cleansing glow or something that was happening. It's the first time we've talked about this. What is it post that you're feeling at this moment with your artistry and your future, man?
You know, it's interesting, man. I had felt so much weight this last couple of years through all of this, man. You know, it made me, I've never been a recluse, really. But it did make me take a step back and have to really decide whether or not I really wanted to do this anymore. You know, whether it was even worth it. You know, being an artist. I'll always write songs, I'll always produce for other people, but being an artist, putting myself out there. And, you know, having to be so revealing, especially in that interview, man, the exhale, maybe not right after the interview, but when I myself finally watched it back and kind of even realized, like, it's just truth. You know, it comes back to, again, full transparency is the way, I think. And I have always been an open book, but now that certain things have become public, it's given me another platform to be like, listen, man, I'm a man, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a brother, and I'm an artist.
Right.
You know, and there's no way I can shy away from any of those things. And for you to fully know who I am and believe what I say, I got to keep it real with you.
Yeah.
And rest assured from here on out, all that you'll ever hear me speak about, all that you'll ever hear me woof and talk about will be just that. I will never shy away. I will never lie to you. If there's anything, and just to keep it real, this is how I am with my children.
Yeah.
I need my kids to know exactly who daddy is.
Yeah.
I need them to never have to question or wonder what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. You know, I plan to be a walking, talking, open book from here on out for artists, for fathers, for mother. I mean, I just, any way that I can use my story and my history and where I'm at currently to help and aid anyone else in need, anyone else who feels disheveled, anyone else that feels like they're ready to check out, you know, anyone else that feels like they don't have anything to offer.
Right.
I would love to be that person to lend a hand, to lend an ear, to lend a heart. You know, I truly believe that now, after even this, that aside from me being a singer-songwriter is what I'm here to do.
Gotcha.
More conversations like this.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Even with the GoFundMe I'm doing right now. I have a GoFundMe up for my truck. You know what I mean? And I remember even talking to my mom about it and talking to my littlest one's mom. You know, they were kind of hesitant about me doing it, especially with everything going on. They didn't want anyone else to have anything else to say about me. But I got to stand strong in my struggle. I got to stand strong in these things that I'm dealing with right now so people know this dude's a real person. Yeah. Just like y'all. I got nothing to hide, man. And now after, you know, it's unfortunate, obviously, you know, the way that this has come about. But like I even say in the interview, man, I genuinely, if our family has to be the example of what change can bring about, what healing through transparency, we don't have to agree. We don't got to really even rock with each other. But if we can leave the table knowing that we were open and honest and we gave both of our POVs and we were met with compassion, I think that's how every interaction and conversation should go. That's how they're going to go with me from here on out. You know, when my truck is fixed, man, my biggest goal and my biggest plan, which has been the reason why I got the truck in the first place. I want to do this road trip, man, that takes me from LA to home here in Wake Forest. And along the way, I would love to reach people. I would love to talk to people. If you invested in me, if you donated to my GoFundMe to get my truck back on the road, please reach out to me. Please DM me, email me, whatever, so I can come to you. I will pull up on you. We can hang, we can eat, we can go bowling. I just want people to know that I'm here. I have always wanted to be an artist that you could touch.
There you go, man.
I don't ever want to be the artist people are scared to talk to. You know, with respect though. You know, if you see me out with my children,
there you go. Right.
Respect, but know that I am here for y'all. I am here to be that vessel. I don't deny the knowledge that I have.
Come on, man.
I no longer deny what I have to offer.
There you go.
And I'm a dad. You know, I'm going through it, even as a dad. I'm a young single dad, currently, of 3. Yeah. Even in that regard, man, the things that I'm going through in that way, I'm seeking help. I'm looking for a mentor in that way that, you know, can guide me through this storm that I'm in right now, just trying to figure this shit out. Right. You know, and through that, man, it's going to require a level of honesty and transparency to be helped. You know, everyone says, you know, you never know what no one's going through. Well, now you know what I'm going through.
There you go.
You know why some days I might wake up in a funk. You know some days why I might not want to talk. But I'm working on developing a shield in a way to where I'm in a place to where I'm always reachable, and I'm doing that for my children. And through that, the rest of my relationships in my life, I would love to continue to cultivate that level of, let's be open with each other. Always. You have a safe space here with me, even if I don't agree with you all the time. I'm not one to chastise. I'm not one to condemn. I will never tell anyone that, they are less than, or make anyone feel like they are less than in any way for what they're going through. Man, we struggle, man, especially as artists. And just as humans. I mean, at the end of the day, man, this is a human experience we're having here as spiritual beings. So if I can lead by example in the way of just pure, brutal honesty,
that's right,
which a lot of people sometimes can misconstrue as, a lot of this. Yeah. You'll never get that from me. And I'm hoping that is returned to me. Let's meet each other with compassion. Let's meet each other where we're at. My whole campaign is based off of that sentiment. Let's meet where we're at. Those of you that troll, those of you that hate, that jump in my comments just to talk, I would love to talk to you too. You believe I'm just a deadbeat, rich, spoiled kid and all that? Bet. How well do you know me, though, to form such a version of my character? I want that part of it for all of us to kind of get touched on a little more, man. We cast these dispersions on people that we don't even know, man. We wonder why the suicide rate in men is so high.
That's right.
We wonder why people, again, are checking out. Families are breaking down. I think it's because of a lack of transparency.
Come on, man.
And I believe in my heart that is the way forward. And that's how I'm moving forward. So again, from here on out, and especially starting top of the year, that's my mission, man. I want to reach as many of y'all as possible. And let's share our stories. Let's share our experiences. Let's come together, man. Let's do that.
BJ, man, I cannot get out of here without last night. You, Uncle Chris, and myself were sitting down talking at 0:00 in the morning. And nephew, you inspired your uncles last night. Once again, in that whole arena of transparency, of that arena of not hiding under the bushel of who you really are and where you've come from for whatever your personal reasons are. Chris and I are from the camp of what many people say old school industry. Chris has always been television and film. I, of course, the other side of music. Both of us, and I'm going to say in this crazy business, literally crazy business of entertainment, we were raised, going back to everything we're talking about from the beginning, we were raised in a humbling type of a nurture. Yeah. Not just from our parents, but from the people that became our mentors in this industry that back in the day, we didn't have cell phones. We had to have a Polaroid thing or get something. We weren't picture takers. We weren't people, if we're in this crew with these legends sitting here that we looked at as family. Yeah. It wasn't a time for picture taking. It was a time for what we eating and how we doing and lessons being learned. So what you did for us last night is you kind of hit on this, but you expounded so much more right now that you let your uncles know, wait a minute, somebody needs to hear really where you've come from. Who taught you? Yeah. What brought you through from the lessons? And we never bring it up, really. We may throw some stuff on Facebook or what have you and give a happy birthday to Muhammad Ali or Nina Simone or Little Richard and Andre and others. And I can say through our conversation last night, nephew, Chris and I walked away with more of a feeling of still humbleness, because that'll never leave us. But a sense of pride.
Pride, man, yeah.
of this is the foundation. This is who you come from. Mm-hmm. And we want to thank you for that. I know Chris, we both thank you for reminding us. Yeah. And when you said, none of us should leave this planet, how did you put it? Without this story being told. Yeah. Or your story, being, told, you know? Man. And thank you for that.
Of course, man. Thank
because
you all
now,
for that.
Hey, the public, hey, y'all, you're going to see another side of Vic Brooks now, you know?
The family.
The family, you know? And that's not afraid because we'll feel that somebody say, oh, look at them bragging. That was always in my mind.
Me too. Me too, man.
You know, oh, look at him doing this. And it cocooned us in a lot of ways.
100%.
That instead of taking that negativity side of it, we're now, thanks to your conversation last night, we're taking that positivity posse side of it to say, hey, yeah, Nina Simone was a mentor to baby sis because she liked my grandma's collard greens and would sit down, and when she wanted to get away, she would be at the house and we would all kick it and learn from Nina, which was passed on to baby sis in her creative works. Yes, Uncle Chris him and Uncle Wayne put together one of the biggest showcases of baked potato in California that was ever done. On the low. Why? Not for showcasing themselves, but for the love of artistry and family. Family, man. And that's why, once again, baby sis was on stage with her aunties of industry, Nancy Wilson and Wanda Vaughn of the Emotions and Jeanette and the Emotions, sitting there and learning her craft. Why do we let the negativity, and you can see my passion because I'm still unwrapping this thanks to you. Why do we let the negativity of others who all they want to do is say, give this?
Right.
No, wait a minute. We're here to say, hey, this was us. Let's pass this on.
Let's pass it
because
on.
There's another artist that may want to learn something like this.
That's all.
Thank you, nephew.
Thank y'all, man.
Thank you, man.
Thank y'all.
Thank you for that.
You know, it's our family, man.
Yeah.
Nico and I used to talk about it all the time, just how lucky, how fortunate and blessed our entire family has been with the connections, just the natural connections, legendary connections. You know what I mean? Before my dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's because that's a point that should be made. A lot of people get it twisted. Like the big guy's the only dude with some talent in our family. And I said this in the interview with Mark too. It's like, man, imagine what's going to happen now as we begin to showcase the entirety of the level of talent in our family. And not just in music, business, lawyers, doctors, healers. You know what I mean? Like I said, if our family is to be the positive example of what you can do, moving as a unit together and firing on all cylinders with all of our talents and our love for our crafts and each other. That's what we're here to do, man. And we cannot shrink ourselves anymore to get to the level of others.
Gotcha.
Doesn't make us bigger, doesn't make us better, but I am no longer shrinking myself as to fit into whatever box y'all need me to be in to feel comfortable with yourself.
Powerful. Powerful.
We can no longer dim our lights for people. Got to give them the light.
There you go. Artist, do the same thing. Tell your story. Let us know and let the world know where you came from. What built your artisticness? What was your journey? That's why formats like this that Rick Schweiner and I have come together and said, let's start letting these artists tell their story, not just on social media, but let the social media take flight, like Nephew is still educating. Make it all work for your journey. Tell your story. Let others know where you come from, what makes you, you. If you sang for the first time at the Grand Ole Opry House when you were 11 years old, tell the story. If somebody who is considered a legend in this industry taught you a thing or two about a thing or two, tell us your story. Don't let the haters are going to what? Hate. They're going to keep you where you are. They're going to make you feel like, why they have to say that? What's this all about? That ain't got nothing to do with it. Yes, it does have something to do with your artistry and your journey. Whether you're movies, television, music, writing, painting, dancing, cooking. If you used to sit down and watch Emeril Lagasse when you were 10 years old and now you can throw down in the kitchen, tell us that story.
Exactly.
That's what Nephew and I are talking about right now. Nephew, thank you, man.
Thank you, Unc.
This was fantastic,
This was great, man.
And
I'm
I
so glad.
believe we really, our family of artists, felt something with this
I do
today.
too, man. I'm excited about it. I'm glad we got to do this. And you know what they say? You got to strike while the iron is hot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And from now on, we're going to keep our foot on y'all's necks. So be ready.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And keep your foot on mine. Keep your foot on ours. We all in this together, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
It's what it's about. Indie Fam Series and Positivity Posse. Indie Fam members and Positivity Posse. We in this together. We what we got. Let's help each other. Let's give each other that foundation we need. Let's help spread the power of artistry everywhere. We think different. We cry different. We hurt different. We love different because we different. We're artists. You are an artist. The world needs what you have to give in your expression of artistry. Paint that painting, write that book, make that movie, sing that song, make that dance, create this wonderful environment like Joni and Brian did right downtown Wake Forest, North Carolina here at Broadsides and Brews, giving that sanctuary for artists. Whatever you need to do, do it, because that's what it's all about. We love you. And keep in touch. Keep those emails coming. Much love and much respect. And Nephew, thank you again.
Thank you. Love you all.
I love you too, man.